No, I don't think there's much to say. Obviously, we feel good about our preseason exhibition and scrimmage, where I thought we played, 80 minutes. I thought we played well for, 50 to 55. I thought the second half of our scrimmage, we really played well, made shots, guarded. And so we feel good about where we are. We're going to do another little inter-squad deal tomorrow, just to kind of keep some momentum and some continuity. Obviously, the opener against Trinity on the 4th, we're excited. A little banged up, nothing crazy, just making sure we get guys healthy over the next 4 or 5 days, ready to go. So, and we're excited. So,
what's the excitement level like, just with the guys, and like what have you learned so far with your group?
Well, I think we're a very competitive group. These dudes are really excited to just play somebody else. It's nowadays, man, you have so much access throughout the course of the year. It's like feels like the summer flew by, the preseason flew by, and now it's not even around the corner. It's here. So, I think these guys, again, they're just excited to get out here and really just get into the flow of the season. And we've been practicing a ton, obviously, and we've seen each other every day. And it's time. It's time to get out here and see where we are, see where we need to get better. I expect us to play well on November 4th. But I also don't expect that to be the team you see in March either. We're going to have to make strides throughout the course of the year on both sides of the ball and really lean into who we are and figure out our identity as we go. So we're excited to get out here and compete.
How do you describe this offense and what it's going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we certainly want to be an up-tempo team. I think a lot of coaches say that. But I am trying to, we played fast when I was at Nichols. Of course, being in Alabama last year, sort of, in that system, learned a lot just in regards to, how to play with pace, but also correct spacing and figure out how to get the most efficient shots possible. We want to play fast. We want to shoot a lot of threes, but that's not, it's not necessarily a game goal. I mean, we want to, if we can get layups and open, open mid-range, or we just want to get open shots, and certainly we'll take a great shot as fast as we can get it. That happens in 5 seconds, that's great. If it happens in 25 seconds, that's great, and so certainly we want to get up and down, we want to move the ball, we want to value assisted shots and, creating the advantage and keeping the advantage, we always say. And so, I certainly think, we're going to play a style that's, getting a lot of guys involved. I think in our scrimmage we had 5 guys in double figures. So, again, we want to get up and down. I want these guys to play with confidence, but then also valuing the ball and confidence in creating their own shot, but also creating shots for others. So, I certainly think you're going to see these guys flying around and letting it go on the 4th.
What goes into the process of getting the group to gel and be able to play together cohesively?
I mean, that's hard to answer. It's a lot. I mean, obviously, it's certain things you do in practice. It's certain things you do, with your team off the court. And I think nowadays everyone's sort of dealing with that every season. You have so many new guys. Certainly with our group, 12 new guys at UTSA. Really 13 new scholarship guys. Because Nas didn't play with any of these guys last year, so he's technically new too. They're all new to each other. And so again, I think just getting comfortable with each other's game and. You start to just, right, like you said, develop some of those, little points of chemistry that aren't really coached, right? Just a certain cut there, just know where he's going to be on this kind of play, right? And it's hard to force that. It kind of just happens organically. And certainly you want to create that in practice and create that environment off the floor. But then also as we go through these games, during the season and we have adversity, that's when the real character of your team is going to show. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for that. That's what coaching's all about. And that's, to me, the fun part of the job is when these guys do come together and overcome that adversity. And you realize that brotherhood they've formed. And that's when special stuff happens for a team.
Austin, what are the goals for this year? You've been pretty adamant that you want to win quickly. Do you ease into expectations, or are you guys trying to make the tournament this year?
Well, you should be trying to make the tournament every year. My goal is to beat Trinity on November 4th. They obviously have a really good team. Coach, Jimmy does a hell of a job over there. And obviously they're going to do some things on both sides of the ball that could be tricky. So we've got to be really prepared come Monday. In terms of long-term expectation for the team, I mean, the goals are always the same, right? Win the regular season, win the tournament. And I've always said I want to go undefeated at home. I've never had a season where I did that. 3 times at Nichols, we lost 1 game, and I certainly want teams that. I certainly want teams that feel like this is a tough place to come win. With the style that we play, with the atmosphere that our fans bring, this community brings. But we always say, dream big, focus small, right? So obviously that's the goal down the line. We're a long way from that, right? We've got to come out and have a good practice today, have a good inter squad tomorrow. So the goals are what they are, but we also have to understand there's a lot of steps that come before that. So focused on coming out and going 1-0 on Monday.
Do you see a team that's ready to compete at a high level like that right away, or do you anticipate a rebuilding process here?
Well, I mean, I certainly, listen, you certainly understand that there are steps to becoming a championship program, right? I mean, listen, I do think if our guys are focused and locked in on what we're doing, we can go out and compete with anybody on any given night. And quite frankly, regardless if we're playing, a high school, a college game, or we're playing the Spurs, like we want to play our game, right? So I think the expectation that we want to set for UTSA is, you're going to be in for a fight when you play us at any given night. Right now it's important to be more process oriented than result oriented in practice and things like that. But certainly, yeah. I mean, we feel that this is a team that, and that's their expectation. I know you guys just talked to some of these guys. I mean, we want to come out here and ultimately, there's building blocks to it. But we expect to come out and be a competitor, every time we step on the floor.
What do you see as the defensive identity of this group?
Yeah, we've messed around with some different things, to be honest. I mean, I do think we have good individual on the ball defenders. I think we can pressure teams a little bit and try to force turnovers. We actually haven't done a great job of that in the first 2, the exhibition and the scrimmage, and probably more of that goes back on me. We've got to maybe harp on some more specifics in practice that could lead to some of those, disruptions and turnovers. But again, I mean, I do think we're a team that's going to value, not giving up layups and forcing turnovers, and then ultimately if teams start making threes, you can adjust. But again, I think that's something throughout the season that could change. As coaches, we all know you have a game plan going in, but then there could be things that you need to tinker game to game or whatever the case may be. So I think that side of it, we're still sort of ironing some details out. But that is also going to be the key when you talk about, whatever you want to call it, winning fast or, whatever. You're going to have to guard. It's not going to happen just because you come out and make some threes. That'll come and go. Our defense is going to have to be there any given night because that's the stuff that's going to travel.
How important was it to add a true center in Mo, and how did that kind of come together?
Yeah, no, it was huge. Mo has been one of the just in terms of just I knew he was going to be able to help us, but man, he has even exceeded my early expectation of just his ability, what he can do, how he can help us. An incredible leader too. Just mature. He obviously has been at SMU where they won a lot of games, and so he's been around a winning culture and a winning program. He's certainly someone that's going to help on both sides of the ball. He's a great rim protector. He's a good finisher inside. When he catches it, when he catches it close to the rim and is able to, he finishes above the rim. He's more athletic than people realize. He's moving well right now too. He actually got banged up the other day, so I'm holding him for a couple of days. But he's played really well. Played well in the scrimmage. Played well in the exhibition. So yeah, he's gonna have a good year for us.
I noticed Terrion Joseph didn't play in the exhibition. What's kind of his status going forward?
Yeah, we're working through some things with the waiver situation that he'll need. If you ask me here in a few days, I'll have a little bit more information for you. But he will play. He will play for UTSA at some point this year. Obviously, we hope it's sooner than later. He's obviously someone that is a dynamic scorer. He's played really well in practice. You'll certainly see him in the American Conference. We're hoping to see him a little earlier than that, but yeah, I'll have some more information on that here in a few days.
He's been a really high usage player in his career. Is it hard to integrate a player like that back in mid-season?
It's funny, man. He has been. I kind of joke with our team. If you look at Kim Palm last year, he was the number 1 player in shots taken per percent. However you say it, but he. And I kind of joke with him. When you talk about sacrifice, this is a guy that he just plays the right way. He's so coachable every time you come in here. He has really embraced just, he has taken a lot of shots in the past, but he's really an unselfish player, and that has really just elevated his efficiency when you look at how he's shooting in practice. And he's just playing a completely different game than he's probably used to playing, but it's making him look like a really high-level player. So I'm excited for the season he's going to have.
Part of that, coach, is he seems to just be able to get wherever he wants to go because he's so quick. So he's naturally going to have more attempts, right?
Yeah, I mean he's as fast a player as I've ever coached, seen. I mean he's certainly incredibly athletic. And I think I've really harped with him on just he's got a value catch and shoot threes. And that's all these guys. It's not just him. I mean I think these guys, a lot of them in the past have dribbled a lot. You've been in places where that was expected of them maybe, and certainly that's not going to be as big of a role here for him in terms of just a lot of ISOs and things like that. I mean we're gonna move the ball. We're gonna get a lot of guys involved, and he's really embraced that. I mean his assist to turnover ratio throughout the summer and practice and fall is incredible. And so when you have someone like that averages 21 a game and wants to be that way, that certainly sends a message to everyone around him and everyone involved on the team. So yeah.
Does he lead your team? Does he lead your guards in dunks?
Does he lead our? Probably so. I mean, him or whatever you want to call Raekwon. If he's a guard, then they're both up there together. But he certainly has,
Seen him do some good ones.
He's springy, and it comes out of nowhere. I mean, all of a sudden you kind of see him get that little runway going left, and yeah, it can happen quick. So he's certainly a dynamic player, and on both sides of the ball. I mean, his ability to get deflections and guard the ball, I think, is going to be key to his success as much as the offensive side.
Austin, how are the hoop side on the NIL space? I know you guys hit the ground running with that. You had a fundraiser a few weeks ago. What's been the reception like from the community?
Well, the reception's been great. I mean, that was a big part of what excited me about this opportunity at UTSA was the community, and this is a basketball town too. I mean, the Spurs and growing up in Texas, I know this is a place that people want to get behind their teams. They want to get behind their universities. There's a lot that goes into that. I think the early part of my first couple of months here has been great. I think people are really excited. I think NIL is tricky, man. Obviously, there's people want to help. We don't lack people that want to help. There's plenty of people that want to help. I think we're all just trying to figure out the best way to do it, right? The best way to, create some kind of sustainable way to, make it work for everyone. I think certainly, like I said, this is, UTSA as a young university has a ton of pride. And certainly we are not short of people that, love this athletic department and want to help. And I think that's our job. I think that's anyone, who wants to be a part of its job, just to figure out how to, stay competitive in that space. I don't really know what anybody else has. I don't know what other schools in the league have. I certainly know I feel like we have a good team. And I want to find ways to continue to have good teams moving forward, however we can do that.
Jeff was telling us today that Lisa told him that student-athlete revenue sharing is something the department is going to commit to. How much of a game changer would that be for basketball?
Yeah, I mean, listen, anything we can do, to ultimately help, raise money that can go to these guys, to our student athletes, it helps, and I think that there's it's not all about, pay for play. I think it's more about just, there's little things that can help these guys in their day-to-day lives, with just, how we're eating, how we're traveling, like little things like that, and when you talk about whether it's revenue sharing or, direct, at the end of the day, I trust Dr. Campos. She's done an incredible job when you look at just where this athletic department has gone over the last 5-10 years, right? And we're always going to look at different things to obviously help expand our student-athlete experience. So we're certainly heading in the right direction, and Lisa is a huge part of that. I'm excited to see where we continue to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Austin.
Appreciate it.
All right.